4 hours. I knew it would be long. So let me say this. I started out the show by saying that the name you see, Mr. Straight Talk, is a character that I play. Like that's the loud brashness, the cockiness, everything like that. It's a character that I play. But behind that guy is just regular old Trevor Johnson. I mean, I'm not afraid to say my name. You guys know my name. A lot of you guys looked it up. You guys put it in your video titles. It's fine. Um, and I just think I think that there's too much foolishness going around in this community. And by community, whether I mean whether you're conscious or whatever the hell you think you are, you guys need to hold one another to a higher standard. The stuff that I hear going on these panels, I mean the just outright saying that you're grooming and stuff like that, and the dudes on the panel not checking it right at the door, just letting the person continue to talk. Like, this is ridiculous, man. I mean, these are the predators that are in the community, and they need to be taken care of. I mean, outright. There's no other way I could put it. I can't sugarcoat it, nothing like that. These guys need to be taken care of, because you violate children, you deserve to be taken out. I mean, that's where I am with it. You know, I'm a father of a young girl, you know, and like I said, I told a story yesterday where I thought my daughter, you know, she was inside the house, but she was outside playing with me. And in that split second, she wasn't there anymore. And the way it made me feel, you know, if this was the 80s when I was growing up, I probably wouldn't have felt anyway, because kids do that. They go in the front yard and then they play or whatever. But, you know, the fact that I saw the side door open, I mean, the side gate open, I thought she went through the gate. And then I just went into panic mode. And it wasn't even because I thought that she would be irresponsible. It's just because I just don't trust the community. I don't trust the surrounding people around me, that they would do something wrong, you know, because you men and you women have cultivated this culture of snatching kids and selling them, you know, to become sex workers and things like that on the black market is outright ridiculous. You know, we talk about rape culture, and you talk about Umar Johnson saying the 40-year trauma, you know, that it takes 40 years for a lot of victims to speak out, you know, so they're holding on to that. I talked about, you know, the pastor now that I know was having relations with an underage child while being married, while having kids, and the trauma that it caused on that young lady, just going out feeling like in order to express herself, she just had to be free with sex, giving sex up to anybody. You know, you know, we showed the statistics of one in every 33 boys being sexually molested, and not speaking about it because it somehow is a ding to their manhood. It's easy, like me and Mike talked about when we were approached by women. But what if it had been different and it was men that approached us? Will we be so easy to talk about it because it plays in on the male ego? I just think as a community, man, and again, I always say this whole gender war shit is stupid, because in the circles that I roll in and what I see on the outside of YouTube, there is no gender war. People keep saying that there is no gender war. I think the fact is the black man and the black woman have a serious communication problem. They don't know how to talk to one another. If we spent more time communicating with each other and learning one another, then our communities would be much better off. And I feel like I hope that we did a good enough show tonight, and we shed light on some serious issues in the community. We tried to keep it as straight down the middle as possible. I appreciate Sister Noble for coming on and sharing her story earlier. That's what it's about, man. I'm trying to cultivate a whole new culture around here where this could be a sounding board where everybody could come over and tell your side of the story, without being judged, without being attacked. You know, that is what we're trying to that's what we're trying to build over here. And like I say, everybody's not going to be along for the ride. I'm perfectly content with not having the regular crowd as everybody. I say that all the time because it's truthful. I believe that. Like, I appreciate that, Doc. I am so, at this point in my life, man, I feel like this microphone serves best with me spreading the word and getting things out. Yeah, we're still going, Man Talk Monday is still going to be the drama filled stuff and things like that. You know, we still going to do that. That stuff is fun, but we are going to put a conscious effort to focus more on things that really matter. Appreciate that, Venkat. Things that really matter in our community, because you can't tell me just because your grandfather got your 13-year-old grandmother pregnant that now in 2023 is perfectly acceptable. You can't tell me that. You can't tell me that when the consensual age of sex is 18, is okay for an 18-year-old senior to be creeping on a 13, 14-year-old freshman. You can't tell me that. You can't tell me that that's okay. You can't tell me that just because young girls dress a certain way, which I have a problem with. I have a problem with the way our young women dress. I've always had that issue. It is what it is. But you can't tell me that just because they're dressed a certain way that you can't display enough self-control not to try to touch them and grope them. I talked about the story that Dr. Mia sent us earlier in Italy, where the judge literally said that it was less than 10 seconds, so it's not considered groping. You can't tell me that we don't have a real people problem, that we don't have a psychological problem in this world. The church hasn't done it. The church just failed. I don't care what anybody says. I showed you a video of a pastor talking about his abuser stuck his penis in his mouth in the front yard, and people were just driving by and did absolutely nothing. And here it is 41 years later, the pastor says, I forgive you, because if I don't forgive you, God won't forgive me. What kind of bullshit is that? Like, that's like literally, that's how y'all mind screw people. That's spiritual abuse, that you could tell a kid that he can't tell, and the only way he's going to get forgiveness is if he forgives that monster. You can't tell me that doesn't make sense. That's stupid. That's stupid. I don't go for that. That's why I don't care about your church. I don't care about your church. I really don't. The church has failed us. The church has failed us. Church ain't moving us forward. And that's just the bottom line. That's just the truth of the matter. Because when you tell a young kid that's being molested in the sound room of a church while her mother's on the altar 20 feet away praying, you mean to tell me that the spirit didn't let that mother know what was going on 20 feet away from her, what was happening with her young child on a weekly basis? You mean to tell me that, like, literally that wasn't happening? You can't get me to believe that. I'm sorry. And then y'all put that little girl up on the altar and make her apologize. Apologize for what? Apologize for falling for a sex crazed monster, a sex crazed animal? Come on, man. What is wrong with y'all, man? Why do y'all protect these monsters? You know, your kids telling you that Uncle Charlie's been touching them in a way that's uncomfortable, and your word is, oh, you know, he's just like that. Oh, don't worry, that's just Uncle Charlie. He don't mean anything by it. He don't mean anything by it. Instead of stopping it at the beginning when you hear about it, and now it materializes into something later, you wonder why your 10, 12, 13-year-old kid is now pregnant, because Uncle Charlie didn't mean anything by it. He was just playing around. You wonder why your young boy is now questioning his sexuality. He doesn't know if he want to be a woman. He don't know if he want to be a man. He don't know what the fuck he wants to be. You know why? Because somebody touched him when he was young. You sent him to summer camp. You sent him to church Bible study, summer Bible camp when he was young. And somebody who he trusted, somebody who was in a position of authority, abused that authority and touched him. Now he's walking around with a purse because he thinks that he's supposed to be a woman because he was violated. Y'all don't ever want to talk about that type of shit. All you want to do is walk around and do drama, walk around and do beef, walk around and do all the bullshit that doesn't mean anything. Meanwhile, our kids are out here dying. Our kids are out here struggling. Our kids are out here crying for help, and there is nobody listening. Because we're too busy as adults living our own lives. We're too busy as women living our best lives. We're too busy as men trying to be passport bros, going to other countries to have sex with underage kids. That's the shit that y'all doing. And then you disguise it as, oh, I'm just living my best life. I'm 50 and fabulous. I'm 40 and fly. I'm living my best damn life. Well, I'm not okay with that. I'm not okay with that. I have a serious problem with that. I mean, forgive me that I may curse a little bit too much. That's what they say. That's why I can't get a certain crowd over here, because they tell me I curse too much. That's fine. That's fine. I'm okay with the crowd that I have. Everybody tells me, oh, Trevor, you can't say those certain words. You can't call out. You know, people were born that way. People were born gay. You can't just say, Trevor, you can't think in your mind that maybe a little boy was touched and maybe that's the reason why he now thinks he's a woman. No, Trevor, you can't say that. You can't say that because it goes against every single thing that we're trying to put in people's mind. It goes against all the brainwashing that we've been trying to do. Trevor, you can't say that this girl has a body count higher than we could count because maybe when she was younger, her uncle touched her. I played a video where a woman said that when she was 12 years old, her dad is the one who molested her. Her dad bent her over and raped her. It was her dad. Like that. But no, you can't call that out. Why? No, you can't call that out. No. Let's talk about who has the biggest car. Let's talk about who doesn't have money. Let's talk about what celebrity A did this. Let's talk about who's going where. Let's talk about the next thing that we're gonna buy. Let's talk about that. There's always a time for everything, man. But I just feel like the time to protect our kids, like if the kids don't mean anything to you, then stop having them. Just say fuck it and don't have any more kids. But if the kids truly mean something to you, then you owe them to try to protect them. And that's all I'm saying. You know, I don't apologize for whoever I offended with all my F-bombs tonight, because I told y'all that I was going to be dropping a bunch of them. It is what it is. You know, I'll never get those crowds I'll never get those interviews that I've been seeking because they say I curse too much. You know, it is what it is. And next week we'll go back. The F-bomb rule will be back in effect and everything like that. But, you know, but for tonight, I gotta be me. This isn't Mr. Straight Talk talking. This is Trevor Johnson, just regular old Trevor Johnson, husband of one, daughter, you know, father of a young girl, you know, protector of my family. I'm the protector of my family. I mean, it is what it is. God forbid. And I always say my biggest fear is that anything would happen to me before my daughter gets married, you know, and her husband, you know, before I hand her off to her husband to protect her, because I'm my daughter's protection, you know, and that's why I do everything I can to make sure that my girls are safe. Like, I mean, it is what it is. And if a lot of you guys start thinking that way, and a lot of you guys protect, I heard a minister say one time the most, and it was a minister from the Nation of Islam too. It wasn't even Christian. Say, man, I should have been a Muslim. He said that our most precious resource is the black woman. And we've shit on the black woman at every turn. Yeah, y'all know me as a manosphere guy. I call women on their bullshit, but I'm not stupid enough to realize that the black women have been standing in the gap in a position that they had no business being in because we haven't stepped up. I'm not stupid enough to not realize that. And I'm also saying that we need to protect them. We need to protect our boys, our little boys. We need to protect our daughters. I was sent a video today, and we're going to play it in 2 weeks, where a young kid, I think he was 10 years old, his mom brought him to the strip club, and he's throwing dollars. First of all, he shouldn't have been allowed in there, but I guess she's a celebrity, so the rules don't apply. But you have just now introduced this 10-year-old boy to money, correlating money with sex. That's what you have just done. The stupidity of that dumbass to not realize what she just did. Correlate money with her son to sex and what role that is going to play on him in the future. I'm looking at the clock. I went way over time. I went a whole hour over time, but I think some things were said that needed to be said. I appreciate everybody that came through. I appreciate everybody that's going to listen to the show in post. Y'all make sure this Wednesday.